All right, welcome back. Grassroots Democrat fundraising platform ActBlue has booted embattled Governor Andrew Cuomo from its donation page over the recent released report of allegations of sexual harassment and assault against him. At least they have the right idea, right? CNN, not so much. Their focus seems to be on unvaccinated employees. Their network's senior media reporter, Oliver Darcy, sharing a memo from NBCU Universal CEO Jeff Zucker. In the past week, we have been made aware of 3 employees who are coming to the office unvaccinated. All 3 of them have been terminated. Let me be clear, we have a zero-tolerance policy on this. So zero tolerance for coming to the office unvaccinated. Not so much for Jeffrey Toobin or Chris Cuomo, though, right? Instead, they enforced Allison Camerata to sit down with Toobin to go over the gross details of his inappropriate Zoom call during daytime TV. Why can't they have Cuomo come in for a daytime mea culpa? He hasn't mentioned it on his primetime show either. And let's not forget this, Jim. Back in May of 2020, while Governor Cuomo was killing elderly people and sexually abusing women, according to that report, this is how he was interviewed on CNN. It was a comedy show. Everyone was laughing. All right, let's welcome in our panel now to talk more about the troubles facing CNN and the Cuomos, PragerU personality and former left-wing activist Amalia Ekpunobi. Also back with us, Morgan Zager. She's the founder of Young Americans Against Socialism, and journalist at the Washington Free Beacon, Matthew Foldi, who had a lot to do with that story about Cuomo getting kicked off the ActBlue page. All right, guys, let's start with Chris Cuomo here. I don't think it's appropriate to fire him, but maybe a suspension, Matthew, might be appropriate here. It's just, this is like one of the biggest stories in the news right now, and it's completely absent from his show.
Or at least some sort of criticism from CNN, which is busy acting like Chris did nothing wrong. They had no problem with him providing in-kind contributions to his brother's campaign, which you can't make on ActBlue anymore. But all of a sudden it became problematic once Cuomo became a scandal-plagued governor. But when he was out touting all of the work that his brother did, there was no problem. Chris Cuomo is sort of gaslighting, pretending like this clip with the Q-tip never happened. But, I mean, we all saw this, and it's weird what CNN decides is a problem, like 3 employees coming in unvaccinated, but Jeffrey Toobin has been completely rehabilitated by the organization. It's sort of weird. It shows you what their priorities are, I guess.
Yeah, and Toobin's got kind of a long history. We've gone into it here. And Matt, tell us a little bit more, Matthew, I should say, tell us a little bit more about what led into your reporting and how'd you get the scoop on Cuomo being on the ActBlue page and then getting kicked off?
So going back last year on August 25th, 2020, ActBlue, which is the left-wing monopoly platform for Democratic fundraising, they kicked off a 19-year-old Democratic nominee for state legislature in Kansas. I wasn't even a journalist at the time, but I thought, wow, this is very interesting. So they're deplatforming a kid for what he did when he was 12, 13, 14, not as a Democratic incumbent or anything. All right, well, ActBlue has opened Pandora's box. And for the past several months, I've been emailing them every time a Democrat, high profile or low profile, has any sort of criminal allegation against them or scandal of any sort. I email ActBlue every time. I say, good morning, I'm a reporter with the Washington Free Beacon. I'm wondering when, following the precedent you set last summer, you were going to remove, let's just say, John Thompson in Minnesota, who was accused of repeatedly strangling his girlfriend and exposing himself in front of children. I've never heard back from ActBlue. So on Tuesday, with the Cuomo report, when it came out, I emailed ActBlue again. I said, hey, when are you guys going to follow the precedent you set here? These crimes are clearly more serious than what this 19-year-old did before he was an office holder. And Cuomo did it as the sitting governor of New York State. So clearly you're going to have to kick him off. Of course, ActBlue did not respond to me. But I wrote this on Tuesday. ActBlue sort of needs to kick Cuomo off in light of the policy that they created last year. I don't know if they intended to create it. We still don't know what their policy is. So yesterday, Axios actually did hear back from the organization, and Axios reported that ActBlue has kicked Cuomo off. And I think now, they've opened a can of worms here. I reported in a follow-up piece, Al Franken is still actively raising money on ActBlue for his leadership PAC. A bunch of scandal-plagued Democrats are still using it. Justin Fairfax is still using it. So I think ActBlue is going to have a lot of questions to answer about which Democrats it's going to kick off next. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it here.
All right, well, you can check it out on the Free Beacon. Great stuff from Matthew, as always.